Good evening, everybody. This is Casper again from the Tropical Weather Threat Society, bringing you a special update on now Hurricane Melissa out here into the Caribbean Sea. And I would not be surprised if this is here at the 11 p.m. advisory. We don't have it just yet, but I would not be surprised if this is already a major hurricane. Would not be surprised at all. Uh, Real quick, I am going to pull up the mesoscale loop on this. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Now we'll switch it back. Come on. As we can see, oh, don't play this with me. It's unavailable. All right, let's go this way then. As we can see with the most recent mesoscale loop, we are starting to get a clear eye. We have a solid closed eye wall on Melissa. If we look at the radar here out of, I hope yep, we may have lost the radar. Oh, there it is. As we can see with the radar out of Kingston, we have certainly a very powerful and very formidable hurricane beginning to develop out here. So we're getting sporadic frames. We're only getting some frames. We're not getting all the frames. So as we can see, again, I would not be surprised in the slightest if this is already a major hurricane. I've been taking a look here at CIRA from Colorado State University, and I am very concerned about the rate of intensification that we're looking at here. I really am. I think that this is going to intensify a lot quicker than folks may anticipate. And just looking at some of the satellite imagery, some of the microwave imagery, we don't get the full breadth of the actual core of itself, but we could see with some of these really high reflectivity colors, and then you match that up with some of the radar, and then you take a look at the satellite imagery. This just screams explosive intensification, not even just rapid. There's rapid intensification is 30 knots in 24 hours or 35 miles an hour. Explosive intensification is 70 miles an hour in 24 hours. So we started this whole mess when it was sitting at 70 miles an hour. Here this morning at the 11 a.m. advisory, it was sitting at 70. So by the time that we get to 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, if it has reached the maximum sustained winds of 140 miles an hour, then we are definitely looking at that explosive intensification. And we have Hurricane Hunter aircraft in this, just passed through the center of circulation. I believe that this is what they were waiting on, and we should see the release of the 11 p.m. advisory here momentarily. But looking at some of these wind barbs and colors, we have seen a couple spots here that are definitely into the major hurricane range. And if we take a look at the graphic, this is 100 knots. I do not see any suspect on this. And at flight level, it was running at about 115 knots. I'll highlight it right here. And then you match that up right here, and it is a little lower than 115 knots. So if you kind of keep in mind that this is flying in and around the 700 millibar level right here, so giving the natural wind reduction, I mean, this isn't far off and it's well above the 100 knot range. That's going to bring it to at least 115 miles an hour with this particular update. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit higher than that. So it is certainly on its way to that 140 uh, mile an hour, and if we see maybe a little bit of a west southwest track, maybe. And I mean that's kind of what we're getting here is a little bit of a west southwest track. Yeah, no, W Chan definitely, definitely expecting, certainly expecting major hurricane status here with this advisory. I'm wondering, honestly, are we going to go 115? We going to go 120? We going to go 125? I think 125 might be a little touch high. They may go with it due to the fact that it's intensifying so quickly and so rapidly. Here over here on Cyclonic WX and running this loop, this is disgusting. I mean, this is pure fear. It just my heart drops when you see stuff like this because this is in the process of bombing out. It is going to plummet pressures. The wind speeds are going to pick up, and it's just going to keep right on going. And the maximum potential intensity of the area right now is 159 knots, which is almost 180 miles an hour. I don't see it reaching 180 miles an hour, especially in the immediate short term. But yeah, I mean, this thing it's off to the races, and it's going, and I'm very concerned for our friends over here in Jamaica, and so much so that I have the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management for the government of Jamaica here up tonight. And I am going to copy these and put them into the chat. 1 second. There we go. Paste and send that. And it helps if I right click on the right things, and we will send that as well. Let's see. I'm going to pin that message. This way, that's the official website for the government of Jamaica, and their disaster and relief and recovery. So all of the information will be available here. If you scroll down, you get some emergency numbers. You can download corporation contacts, emergency contacts here, all types of preparedness tips, and resources on top of that. We can pull out the shelters here, and as you could see here, there are many shelters across the entire island, and I just hope people are using them as much as possible, because I am very, very fearful of what we are going to get here on the eastern side of the island. So here, I will also... Oh, I didn't want to do that. What am I doing? Stop it. That is not what I wanted to do. I hit the wrong thing. I hit paste and not copy. And now I have done screwed it all up. Yeah, that was kind of stupid of me. So what I'm going to do is we are just going to open up the shelters tab again. That was dumb. I've been at this all day long, so please forgive me, folks. This is my fourth live of today. Let's see, we're going to paste that and drop that in there, and then we are also going to paste that and drop that in there. So again, folks, use your official resources. This is what we always tell everybody. Wow, we decided that we were going to go into orbit with the Zoom. All right. We'll just use the actual tab instead of trying to use the wheel. So as you can see, plenty of shelters across the entire region. Please, folks, I can't stress this enough. You know, you could break it down by you, you could break it down by parish. So I mean, it's big time here, and it's certainly go time with this. So let's check and see. We do have the 115. We are a major hurricane. Yes, that was definitely expected. All right, let's get into it. We are currently located at 16.4 north, 75.9 west, about 125 miles south southeast of Kingston, Jamaica, about 280 miles west southwest of Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It is currently has 115-mile-an-hour maximum sustained winds, and it is moving just a little bit south of due west at 265 degrees at 3 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure down to 967 millibars. We still have a hurricane warning in effect for Jamaica, a hurricane watch for portions of eastern Cuba and the southwestern peninsula of Haiti, and a tropical storm warning in effect for the southwestern peninsula of Haiti also. Interest elsewhere in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, the southeastern and central Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos Islands should monitor the progress of Melissa. Hazards affecting land. Oh, this is so sad. Wind. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in Jamaica by early Sunday morning, with hurricane conditions expected later on Sunday or on Monday. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Tropical storm conditions are expected and hurricane conditions are possible within the watch and warning area in Haiti through Sunday. Hurricane conditions are possible in the watch area in eastern Cuba on Tuesday into Wednesday. Rainfall. Melissa is expected to bring total rainfall of 15 to 30 inches to portions of southern Hispaniola and Jamaica into Wednesday, with local maxima of 40 inches possible. Additional heavy rainfall is likely beyond Wednesday. Uncertainty at that time range precludes exact storm totals. Catastrophic flooding and landslides are probable across portions of southern Hispaniola and Jamaica. For eastern Cuba, total rainfall of 6 to 12 inches, with local amounts of 18 inches, are expected into Wednesday, resulting in life-threatening flash flooding and landslides. Additional heavy rainfall is likely beyond Wednesday. Uncertainty at that time range precludes exact storm totals. Storm surge. Life-threatening storm surge is becoming more likely along the south coast of Jamaica later in the weekend or early next week. Peak storm surge heights could reach 9 to 13 feet above ground level, near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. This storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. There is a potential for significant storm surge along the southeast coast of Cuba early next week. And with our surf, stay out of the water. Let's just be blunt about it. Don't get in the water. We've got a developing monster out there in the Caribbean. The rip currents, the waves, everything else. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. So please, folks, stay out of the water. We did not get much shift for our track. Really at all, it doesn't look like, and that is going to potentially put Kingston and the surrounding communities into that front right quadrant, which would also bring some of that onshore flow and some of that really, really strong and heavy storm surge. So, folks, please make sure that you are definitely above 13 feet above ground level and do not be near the coastline. Again, there is our radar, our spaghetti plots. As you can see, the forecast guidance has really, really tightened up, and now we are almost certain to look at somewhere into the central to eastern portions of Jamaica there with the latest forecast guidance. The consensus here, the 0Z HCCA, has shifted back just a little bit to the west, which really puts areas here into Old Harbor, Kingston. We are definitely looking at almost, this would be considered the worst case scenario with its angle of approach, with its intensity, with its duration. Jamaica has never seen an impact like this before in ever, and that even goes back to not Hurricane Gilbert, not Beryl. Beryl went by, caused some significant damage, but never made direct impacts, as to where Gilbert made direct landfall into Kingston in 1988 and caused a massive amount of damage across the island. I remember that growing up. I remember it being all over the news and everything. And this one has the potential to be much, much worse. All right, let's get into our discussion. This is the big thing. We're going to read the whole thing in its entirety. Reports from NOAA and Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate that Melissa is continuing rapid intensification. The Air Force aircraft reported flight level winds of 115 knots in the northern eye wall of the 17 nautical mile wide eye at 700 millibars, along with the central pressure of 967 millibars. Based on these data, the initial intensity is increased to 100 knots, making Melissa a Category 3 major hurricane. The initial motion is now just south of due west, or 265 degrees at 3 knots. A low to mid-level ridge to the north of Melissa should steer the hurricane generally westward at a slow forward speed during the next 36 hours or so. After that time, a deep layer mid-latitude trough moving through the southeastern United States will break the ridge, with Melissa expected to turn northward and then recurve into the mid-latitude southwesterly flow. The guidance is fairly well clustered during the first 72 hours, with Melissa expected to pass over Jamaica in 48 to 60 hours and then be near or over eastern Cuba around 72 hours. Beyond 72 hours, there is some speed and direction spread, but the overall guidance is in good agreement that Melissa should accelerate northeastward through portions of the Bahamas into the Atlantic. The new forecast track is a little south and west of the previous track through 60 hours, and similar to the previous track after that time. Rapid intensification is expected to continue for the next 24 to 36 hours, and it is possible that during that time, Melissa could intensify even faster than what is currently forecast. The regional hurricane models show the cyclone peaking before it reaches Jamaica, and based on the new forecast, keeps a 48-hour peak intensity of 140 knots. Afterwards, some intercore oscillations, such as eye wall replacement cycles, could lead to fluctuations in intensity before Melissa's first landfall in Jamaica. It must be noted that there is very little practical difference in the overall impacts of a Category 4 or 5 landfall, and Melissa is expected to be at least that intensity when it moves over Jamaica. Melissa should weaken as it interacts with Jamaica and Cuba, although it is still forecast to be a major hurricane when it nears Cuba. A faster weakening should occur after passing Cuba when the cyclone encounters strong shear over the southwestern Atlantic. This remains a very serious situation in terms of catastrophic rainfall, wind, and storm surge hazards for Jamaica, and preparations should be rushed to completion in the area currently under a hurricane warning. And we are definitely, and again, like they said, we could be looking at a faster rate of intensification, and looking at the way that that storm is beginning to really show the power of a tropical cyclone, and it's starting to develop a decent amount of symmetry. We're in trouble here, folks. Again, the reason that I mentioned explosive intensification and being able to achieve that status, we had 70 miles an hour at the 11 a.m. advisory. We then got the hurricane at 2. Then the rapid intensification started. So we're looking at 70 at the 2, 75 at the, or 70 at the 11 a.m. Eastern, 75 at the 2 p.m. Eastern. At any point in time, if we hit 140 or 145 by 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. tomorrow, we're looking at the rate of explosive intensification. And I think that that is very, very likely to be the case. I expect to wake up in the morning to do the 9 a.m. live tomorrow morning and probably looking at easy a category 4, if not somewhere in the range of around 140, 145 miles an hour as it's going through its diurnal maximum cycle. And for folks that may not know what that is, let me come over here to the University of Wisconsin. We will get the diurnal cycle for Hurricane Melissa. And as you could, let's see here, local standard time. So we're really going to like ramp this up. I don't know if this is updated recently. Has it? Doesn't seem like it. But you trust me when I say, as we get into the late overnight hours, right now we are approaching the diurnal minimum on this, which is basically the convective maximum, and we still got a while to go actually, and I'm afraid that we're certainly gonna be seeing at least a category 4 in the morning. Whether kind of where we're at on that scale, 130 at the minimum, or getting into that 140 145 range, that's quite questionable. But the one thing is certain is that the impacts to Jamaica are going to be life changing for a lot of people, and I hope folks are going to remain safe, because this is as bad as you can get. This is honestly the worst case scenario for the island of Jamaica. This ain't really doing good at all. The advanced door bag technique is kind of terrible. Let me see what it's got. And we're clearing an eye. So, yeah, it'll catch up here. D-Print's got at least 90 knots, but we can look at it and tell that it's likely stronger than that. And hopefully we'll get a little bit 79 knots from SATCON. Let me take a look here. Yeah, you're still running in the range, but it's not doing too good. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this all really plays out and where this tops out at. It you know Maximum potential intensity is 159 knots, so it's certainly not good. Let's take a quick look at our wind speed probabilities if this wants to refresh. Maybe. There we go. Thank you. All right. Yeah. I mean, it really hasn't changed a lot, but they're still continuing to increase very slowly. Kingston, Montego Bay, you're definitely going to see tropical storm force winds on the entirety of the island. These 50 knot winds, 68% chance in Montego Bay, 70% chance here in Kingston. We've got a 46% chance of hurricane force winds for Montego Bay and a 48% chance of hurricane force winds there in Kingston. And these values are likely to continue to increase as we go forward. And I would not be surprised before it's all said and done with that we see a solid set of 99s, especially for Kingston, and with the intensity that we're looking at approaching at landfall, it is going to be likely that Montego Bay also will receive hurricane force winds, albeit probably a little bit less if it follows the track, less intensity than what your fellow uh, your fellow countrymen and are going to see on the eastern side. Uh, let's see, we've got. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, no, no. Yeah, it the trough in Louisiana definitely it's saving all of the United States honestly because that and then the reinforcing one behind it should help to keep it out. Unfortunately, it is yeah like you said, Bermuda. I'm not 100% sure as far as Cat 2 is concerned. I mean, let's take a look there. Um, yeah, I don't think so. Honestly, getting into the Cat 2 at 120 hours they've got here, it's close. No doubt about it. And then it is approaching Bermuda, but that's southwesterly shear with a potential disruption of the core because really what it looks like and it seems like is going to occur is we're going to have obviously as it goes over the island of Jamaica you are going to interfere with a good amount of the surface circulation and the low level circulation. You're certainly going to get a disruption there. If you add that in with the dry air that is on the back side, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, granted, we're still going to have the intensity. We're still going to have the infrastructure and the vertical alignment of the storm. But I'm not 100% sure if you're going to keep a 100% fully closed eye wall as you cross over Jamaica. And if you don't, some of that dry air may play a little bit of a factor. If you do keep that solid eye wall, you're still going to have some low level disruption. There's no question about it. And then you're going to hit the peak. You're going to hit the mountains here in Cuba as well. And when you do that, you're definitely going to lose coherence in that core. Because as you could see, Jamaica's obviously not flat with the highest peaks over here where I am extraordinarily concerned. I've even seen some like in-house models of news outlets that are calling for potential maybe even uh, you know upwards of 50 inches in certain spots up here in and around these mountains, even though that the National Hurricane Center is calling for 40-inch maxima. Like I said, some of those predictive models are really starting to hone in on the potential for maybe even higher amounts than that. I just I can tell you that this entire area right here is going to be changed. There's no doubt about it. There is going to be a Helene style event that is going to occur in these mountains and in this national park. I would not be surprised if this thing is pretty well just kind of cleaned and scoured down to, unfortunately, potential just rock at that point. I really don't expect any foliage to be out here on the eastern side as this goes through. I really expect most of the trees to be stripped clean. The vegetation being absolutely, throttled. We're looking at agricultural industry across the entire island that is probably completely ruined. We're looking at an unbelievable amount of flooding that is coming here down from these mountains, and then the surge that is coming up. Like we've got this kind of break here where the harbor is. That's done. I'll tell you that right now. That's done. this is going to get severely impacted, severely impacted, and hopefully there is enough to potentially hold back. But I'm highly skeptical of that, because the large and destructive waves that are also going to be present with this will likely be able to get through there. And then here, like Old Harbor Bay, getting into this area as well. I expect this entire region right here to be absolutely inundated with storm surge. Obviously, we're looking at 9 to 13 feet, and there is great elevation in and around the region. But whatever's in the low lying areas, it's going to be a huge problem. And it's like I said, the catastrophe on this is unbelievable. But if we let's put the track on this actually, and let's see, do we get the track? Come on, give me the track. Thank you. All right, so say we're just going to run, hypothetically running across here. As you can see, as it were to move here, we're definitely going to disrupt things down 925 millibar level below, maybe even getting, maybe 875 level and below, maybe 880, 890, somewhere in that range. So as we continue to move off, we see that it is going to spend some time over the open waters, but it's going to be accelerating as well. Then it is going to end up running into this. Now, if it runs off over here on the eastern side, it's still got peaks to roll with. If it comes in over here, well, that's a whole different ball game at this point. But if it hits these peaks over here, it's pretty much its core is going to get severely impacted, because it's going to still be in kind of that recovery stage, and then it's going to get hit again on that second round and that second punch. And even we saw that with the Euro humidity models earlier. If I'm actually going to cut out the 700 millibar level so I can make the 500 millibar level graphics a little bit more. The Euro we have here on the left, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about when I say that, where we have this, mega system here at this point on the Euro. And then as it comes through, it still kind of keeps somewhat of that coherency and vertical alignment and structure after passage through Jamaica. But then when it hits Cuba, look what happens. We get that dry air that pops in and is able to infiltrate, and then boom, you cut the core and you break it. And with that increased southwesterly shear on top of that amount of dry air that would definitely be entraining in, and even the GFS wants to kind of agree with that as well. The GFS is not really much for Bermuda. The Euro was the one that was kind of in line for it. And as you could see, it's really beginning to lose a lot of its, kind of focused energy in one spot. And that is, if I back that up with the 850 millibar cyclonic vorticity, you can see that on that second one, how now, once it hits Cuba, here, I'll kill the GFS and we'll bring this up even bigger so we can kind of analyze the Euro. As it goes over Jamaica, right, you don't have the tight isobars that what we saw. So you can definitely tell there's a little bit of a disruption there. And then right when it smacks Cuba, you see how you get some of that energy starting to leak out of the southern side right here, right there. Let me, right there. how that red is starting to leak out on that southern side. That's the second disruption round, and then it tries to then recover, but look what's happening. It's losing a lot of its energy and then trying to, if I could, which obviously I can. Let's get the entire tropical Atlantic on this so you can see. It almost looks like it really, really locks into that trough. And as you can see with that low pressure there, and it right there at that point, it looks frontal and it may be extratropical. Maybe. It'll at least be attempting to turn extratropical for sure. And we can back that up even more with the simulated infrared satellite. As we run this forward in time, you'll see that it's got a decent amount of coherence, and then all of a sudden it really, really, it's still there, but it starts to lose potentially some of its tropical characteristics, and it could be close. Again, it's going to be all due to really what it hits and how much disruption takes place. Because it is going to be moving rather quickly, though, the second punch won't be as formidable as that first disruption over Jamaica. Because it will be gaining forward speed as it is approaching Cuba and then crossing over Cuba. Still going to have some impact, but with that dry air, that's kind of what I'm hoping on, is that backside dry air really, really leaking into the storm after the second hit, and really trying to, kind of keep that thing from doing anything else and being caught up in with such deep layer shear that we are looking at a where is my shear? I went by it. We're looking at a significant influence there with that shear and that southwesterly shear. Granted, it's going to be moving in the same direction, and it'll kind of decrease some of that shear value there. And we could get a little bit of a ventilation, but as you could see, even here on the wind shear, it kind of looks frothy at that point. Maybe, possibly, may get frontal. And if it goes frontal, forget it, hang it up. It's post-tropical at that point. Though it is not forecast, obviously, in the 5-day period, and they're not talking about it yet. They're in the discussion, so it's going to be kind of a hit or miss thing there. But I do hope that Bermuda doesn't end up taking more impact. Though my focus is down there, obviously, in the Caribbean for the meantime. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's make sure we get through our rainfall graphics here tonight. Again, folks, catastrophic rainfall, you can't even call this generational. This is probably, this is kind of like the storm of the century for these folks. And it maybe even more than just one century. Possibly up to 40 inches, especially in that area here into eastern Jamaica that I was highlighting, that has all the mountain ranges. It's going to change the landmass. It's going to scalp it. There's no doubt in my mind. You're going to drop possibly up to 40 inches of rain in that region. That water's got to go somewhere, and it's going to seek its lowest level. And there's going to be a ton of landslides. You're going to severely oversaturate the soils with this rain, and then you're going to punch it in the mouth with a category 4 at landfall, and we'll see where this thing decides to tap out. Right now its maximum intensity is at 160. Let's hope that's where it stops. I can tell you that the basin intensity right now would support around 180. That would be kind of tapping out, so it would likely only hit probably about 170, 175, but that is possible. And then for our friends out here in the Tiburon Peninsula of Haiti, we are looking at isolated areas of potentially up to 30 inches on this extreme southwestern side, with areas of 16 to 20 inches or 400 to 500 millimeters stretching back a great distance back over the peninsula as well. And for the folks here into the southwestern portions of the Dominican Republic, we are looking at potentially 20 inches plus. The only optimistic thing that I can find on this entire screen is this little area right here on the western end of Jamaica. We're probably going to see some pretty gusty winds, hurricane force, I would imagine, hurricane gusts at minimum. And though we're not getting that catastrophic rainfall there. And that to me is, I'm trying to find just the smallest point of optimism I can for the folks here in Jamaica. I'm hoping that that section of the island will be, at least infrastructure wise, will be capable of supporting some of the recovery efforts and the disaster response groups that will be responding or wanting to respond as soon as this clears. But obviously, it has to be safe to do so for the disaster response companies as well. I would imagine that there is going to be a ton of Starlink mobile units and satellite units coming in, generators. We're going to see heavy equipment coming in, fuel, food, water, a lot of supplies. But first thing is going to have to do is a damage assessment after the storm is able to clear. So, folks, this is going to be a very long durated event and will require patience, and extreme and great patience for the recovery effort. Some of these areas, honestly, it's never going to look the same again. There's going to be a lot of areas, and I know this from personal experience. There's going to be a lot of areas that have a lot of sentimental ties for folks. Those areas may no longer exist afterwards, due to, say you got a favorite fishing spot out there on the coastline or something that you've always gone to, that out there on the eastern side of the island, that may be completely unrecognizable the next time you see it. And like there's some major risks with this, folks. Please, I cannot stress this enough. Please use your official sources. The government of Jamaica, if you just come to the government of Jamaica, scroll down right here, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. I've got it linked there in the chats on both Facebook and YouTube. So please, folks, I can't stress this enough. Please follow the official sources. Granted, I know here for the folks in Haiti, you guys are also taking a massive hit. You haven't updated here in a little while, so it's very difficult to communicate fresh information. So please stay safe. We've already heard of fatalities that have occurred there in Haiti. Please, we don't want any more. So please, folks, stay safe. The Dominican Republic as well. We could see if we've got that 11 just yet. They have not released that. More rainfall, 162.5 inches. I mean, they're getting stomped down there. There's no doubt about it, with the rainfall in extending all the way over to the Dominican Republic. So, folks, please follow the official sources. I can't stress this enough. We'll see if we can get Cuba to load now that they've got the hurricane watch issued for them. Their website's not the best. It really it'll crash if it gets too much, and yeah, it kind of looks that way. Let's see. Let's see, tropical cyclone, and then our warning. Yeah, not anything just yet. So, please, folks, again, I can't stress this enough. This is going to be. There will be no more Melissa. I promise. Melissa's going to get retired. There's no question in my mind. We'll see if Bahamas have come up with anything yet. No, not yet. It takes time for it to filter through, and then they'll release some of their information. As far as the Google DeepMind is concerned, it has performed the best as far as intensity is concerned all season long. There's not really been much out there that can kind of compare with it other than the National Hurricane Center. It has been it's been the winner this year. There's no doubt about it. Looking here at the ensemble breakdown for the 18Z, the mean is 932 millibars, which is extraordinarily powerful. But as you can see with a lot of the different ensemble members, we could get even lower than that. So this is we're gonna have to wait to see how far this thing is gonna go as far as its maximum intensity. We're gonna have to see where this stops, and I've got some serious questions as well because of the fact that we have a decent subsurface warm core eddy out here. And I can pull it up here. We'll put our trusty green circle right on the center of where Melissa is. We will go the currents, and as you can see here, as it is continuing to creep down to the southwest, does it get anywhere near any of this influence at all? And it's this one that we're really concerned with. Oh, that color's not going to show up, but that will. It's this one. If we match it up again with the University of Miami and Rosenstiel School here, it's that one. And then if you match that up with the oceanic heat content, you can see it right there. Terrible color. Red damn sure ain't gonna help either. You can try black on it. Right there. It's got a spike of the oceanic heat content, and on top of that, the 26-degree isotherm. How far down in the below the surface of the ocean do you have to go before you hit like the 79, 80-degree isotherm and benchmark? You're going way down. You got to go way down there, and that's the part that that's kind of scared me from the very beginning, because these types of currents right here are very, very similar to the Gulf of Mexico's loop current, and that is. And as you can see, we've got a broken off warm core eddy sitting right there already, and then also the loop current itself, which is you never want to put anything into any of this, because the sea surface temperatures on that are just dumb. 85 degrees, 84, and don't forget, you've got cold fronts that have tried to help influence this, and well, it's not going to happen. I mean, you've got some really, really warm waters here, And if we come down here and look at the other one, as you could see here, we're 86, you know, 86, 86, 86. It's just this area here has great depth with it. And that's what really gives it its oceanic heat content. And if it gets near this at that, at that intensity, it could be just a little bit more of a pop to it and really, really help kind of set it off towards the north at its absolute maximum potential. And although it is unlikely to get down there, but how close will this be? How much of the center of circulation and the central dense overcast of the storm, how wide is this going to be as we go forward? Because it is forecast to grow in size, and enough so that here we'll come to here and we'll pull up the forecast advisory. You can see that the overall tropical storm force wind field is not supposed to get too overly large, but the overall size of the system itself should expand, especially as it tries to move northward and get caught up in that southwesterly flow. It'll help to kind of ventilate the system a little bit more. And it's again, folks, this is beyond catastrophic. I mean, like it unfortunately, it looks like that this may become a humanitarian disaster of historical proportions, and I wish everybody the best, and I hope everybody is able to stay safe. I hope that we've got all the shelters across the entire island here completely full. I really do. I hope everybody, has taken account to those shelters, especially if they're in, vulnerable areas. Please take the shelters. Please. They're there. You'll have other people there. Resources will be focused in those shelters. Please take advantage of those shelters, because all of these little blue lines that you see here, every single one of them, it's going to be flooding like you have never seen before, ever. It's going to be unbelievable. The water that is able to drain off on the north side will be able to drain. The water that is trying to drain out on the south side will get stuck and caught. And unfortunately, this airport here, I don't think that that's going to be usable in the near future. I don't. I mean, they may be able to get the landing strip open, but I don't think any of the buildings, unless they've really, really built them to Category 5 status, I don't think that they're going to make it through this one. I don't. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't. I really hope I'm wrong. This yacht club, this is all, lakes and ponds. And this is all going to be underwater. That's what I'm afraid of. This is all going to be underwater. All right, folks. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. We've gone through the updates and everything. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to read the key messages, and then I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Please make sure to use your official sources. Key message number 1 for Jamaica. A multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall is expected to begin tonight, causing catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides, extensive infrastructural damage, long-duration power and communication outages, and potentially prolonged isolation of communities is likely. A life-threatening storm surge also likely along portions of the southern coast early next week. All preparations should be completed immediately. Oh, this is the wrong. Let's try that again. We read the wrong advisory. I'm tired. I've been doing this all day long. Jamaica, seek shelter now. A multi day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall have begun and will cause catastrophic and life threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides. Extensive infrastructural damage, long duration power and communication outages, and isolation of communities are expected. Life threatening storm surge is likely along portions of the southern coast early next week. Haiti. Catastrophic and life threatening flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti into early next week, likely causing extensive infrastructural damage and isolation of communities. Strong winds could last for a day or more over the Tiburon Peninsula. Dominican Republic. Heavy rainfall through the middle of next week could produce catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides in the southern portion of the country. And eastern Cuba. Southeastern and central Bahamas, and well, it says southeastern. Central Bahamas, I mean, you're not looking at some of these, but please monitor Melissa. So eastern Cuba, southeastern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos, monitor Melissa closely. There is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. In eastern Cuba, the risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing. A hurricane watch is in effect for portions of eastern Cuba. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign off for tonight. I'm going to try to get a little bit of rest so we can get back up, and we're going to be doing it again. Lord have mercy. This thing is not messing around at all. Lord have mercy. You don't want to give me that. You want to give me the clean long wave? No. That damn thing. It ain't working right now. Of course. There we go. We can at least get that. And it is really, really... Oh, and it fired another one. Yeah. So this is... I do expect this to be at least Category 4 when I wake up in the morning. No doubt about it. How high up in that Category 4 range is... That remains to be seen, but I would not be surprised if this is a Category 4 in the morning at all whatsoever. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and I will talk to y'all again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll be live, and we'll go over everything overnight. And then again tomorrow, 1 p.m., 6 p.m., and 10:45 p.m., all times Eastern. So we'll be here with everybody, and we'll go over it, and we'll go over it together, and hope for the best for these poor folks out here. So be ready to help them. So we'll talk to you later, guys.